Hey and welcome to the Daily Manchester United News Show. Let's begin with our daily news. David de Gea confident of signing a new Manchester United contract. Manchester United goalkeeper David de Gea is confident of penning a new contract with the club. The Spaniard is currently in his 12th campaign with the Red Devils and continues to remain an undisputed starter. He has produced countless number of standout displays. Talks are now underway over a new long-term contract beyond the current campaign, and De Gea is confident that the negotiations will end in a good way. He told Manchester Evening News, "We are still talking. I am just focused on the game. That's the most important thing, but for sure, it's going to end in a good way." De Gea was superb between the sticks for United last season, but there were doubts raised over his passing ability and movement after manager Erik ten Hag took charge. The 32-year-old made a poor start to the season, with a couple of blunders against Brighton and Hove Albion and Brentford, but he has since been flawless in the Premier League. Barring a howler against Everton in the FA Cup third round, De Gea has been assured between the sticks with world-class saves, one of those come against Crystal Palace. The Spaniard has also been good with his distribution. He has likewise shown more eagerness to get on the ball, which was almost non-existent during his previous seasons at the club. Ten Hag recently described his performance as magnificent, and it appears a no-brainer to extend his stay. United have a 12-month option on his £375,000 a week contract, but look set to reward him with a new deal with a pay cut. Nottingham Forest target a permanent summer move for Manchester United keeper Dean Henderson. According to the Telegraph, Nottingham Forest are targeting a permanent summer move for Manchester United goalkeeper Dean Henderson. Henderson, who is currently on loan at Forest for the whole of the season, has been very good for Steve Cooper's side thus far. He picked up an injury before the January transfer window deadline, which meant they had to sign Keylor Navas for that position on loan from Paris-Saint Germain. It would be interesting to see if Cooper reverts to Henderson in goal when he returns from injury in a few weeks' time, or stay with Navas, who had an excellent debut against Leeds United on Sunday. The other thing is that the multiple Champions League winner is there until the summer only, and Forest want to sign Henderson on a permanent deal once his loan spell ends. The 25-year-old's contract at Old Trafford runs up until the summer of 2025. His comments about United after leaving for Forest meant that coming back to Old Trafford may not be an option for him. Moreover, David de Gea has been in a great form for us and is confident about signing a contract with the club, so even if Henderson comes back from his loan spell, he wouldn't be the first choice keeper here. It would make sense if United sanction a deal to sell him in the summer. The 25-year-old has found a good club in Forest who are doing well and could well stay up. For us, it would be an opportunity to get a transfer fee in and use that to strengthen the squad in other areas. Frank de Boer gives verdict on Wout Weghorst's early performances at Manchester United. Wout Weghorst joined Manchester United in the January transfer window to fill a need created up front by Cristiano Ronaldo's departure. His arrival became an absolute necessity with Anthony Martial's injury problems recurring. Weghorst has started the last 6 games for Manchester United, displaying a high level of reliability. He does, however, only have 1 goal to his name, a strike in the Carabao Cup semi-final. Dutch legend Frank de Boer has given his verdict on Weghorst's ability and contribution. De Boer was quoted by FC Update, praising the hard work Wout Weghorst has brought to Manchester United. He said, "He has qualities that others can benefit from. Sometimes strikers are very selfish, but he does so much defensive work. He knows his qualities, that's why he is so loved by coaches. His efficiency is incredibly high." Referring to a lack of goals so far, De Boer added, "Everyone knows that the Premier League is the competition with the highest level and fantastic central defenders. Weghorst is certainly putting in the hard graft, and Manchester United are better off for having him available. The last few weeks would have been difficult without a centre forward. Having Weghorst in the lineup allows Marcus Rashford and the other wide players to stick to their positions. Rather than being shoehorned into other roles, the goals will come for Weghorst. United are still figuring out ways to use him to maximum effect, but he did show an ability to contribute when it matters most with his semi-final goal. United should be quietly encouraged with the way Weghorst has started out. Man United's transfer priority is clear after a fresh Anthony Martial injury blow. Manchester United transfer priority is pretty much clear this summer, following a fresh injury blow for Anthony Martial this month. The Frenchman has revived his United career under manager Erik ten Hag this season, but his injuries have drastically reduced his playing time. The 27-year-old has 8 goal contributions from just 722 minutes, but the main concern has been his fitness record over the entire season. The £54 million signing has already suffered 5 separate injuries, which have seen him miss 19 games. He recently made his comeback from a leg injury against Nottingham Forest, but was once again absent against Crystal Palace with a recurrence. His situation is bound to frustrate the club as well as Ten Hag, and in our opinion, the hierarchy should look to part ways with him in the summer. United are said to be eyeing a marquee striker, and their transfer priority is clear as they cannot depend on an injury-plagued Martial to lead the line. Come the summer, we can expect Man United spending big to get a heavy striker. Arsene Wenger's recent praise of Marcel Sabitzer disagrees with Paul Merson. Manchester United midfielder Marcel Sabitzer made a successful debut at the weekend when he came off the bench against Crystal Palace. The on-loan signing from Bayern München looked comfortable in a high-pressure situation, earning praise from his manager Erik ten Hag. Sabitzer was also lauded by his new teammates, and David de Gea said he is confident the midfielder can step up with Casemiro suspended. United will be relying on the loanee, who will likely form a 3-man midfield against Leeds in midweek with Fred and Bruno Fernandes. Sabitzer had a difficult time at Bayern München due to Leon Goretzka and Joshua Kimmich being in front of him in the pecking order. This is ultimately what allowed Manchester United to sign him. This does not denounce Sabitzer's quality, despite Paul Merson's ludicrous assessment that Sabitzer was a fourth-rate player. Merson's old Arsenal boss, Arsene Wenger, is among Sabitzer's admirers. He praised the midfielder in an interview in December with Spox Austria. Wenger was discussing the Austrian national team and picked out Sabitzer and RB Leipzig midfielder Konrad Laimer. He said, "I particularly like the midfield with Marcel Sabitzer and Konrad Laimer, two players who are very strong both with and without the ball. They move very cleverly between the lines and are also physically impressive. It's Sabitzer's physicality which will help him make a quick adjustment to the Premier League. He appeared to settle right." Wenger also incidentally had kind things to say about former Manchester United interim manager Ralf Rangnick, who is Sabitzer's manager for Austria. The Frenchman commented, "Ralf is not only a coach, he is also a kind of a visionary. He is the right person to take Austria to the next level of development. That he has a good eye for young, talented players will ensure that Austria becomes even more competitive." Manchester United called off Facundo Pellistri loan to Watford in January. Manchester United called off a loan move for Facundo Pellistri to Watford on the deadline day of the previous transfer window, according to Football Insider. The Uruguay international was speculated to leave the Red Devils last month on a temporary deal until the end of January. The 20-year-old had options on the table to leave. The championship outfit were due to get the youngster on loan until the end of the season. However, Erik ten Hag rejected the offer. The Dutch manager feels the Old Trafford side will have to rely on the forward for the rest of the campaign. At United, the gaffer has a lot of options on the wings to count on. Marcus Rashford has been in fine form this season. Anthony has also been the Dutch manager's go-to player for the right wing. Ten Hag can also count on the likes of Jadon Sancho and Garnacho. The England international recently returned to the team, while the Argentine youngster has forced his way into the gaffer's plans. Therefore, there is a lot of competition for Pellistri in the squad. With the Old Trafford side's packed schedule, squad depth will evidently be key. It remains to be seen how many minutes the Uruguayan will be given for the rest of the campaign. Barcelona suffered Sergio Busquets injury panic ahead of Manchester United clash. Manchester United's upcoming Europa League opponents, Barcelona, are dealing with an injury blow to key midfielder Sergio Busquets. The veteran midfielder is still a key part of this Barcelona side, starring under his former teammate Xavi. Busquets was substituted in the 8th minute of Barcelona's 3-0 win over Sevilla and had to be helped off the pitch by medical staff after twisting his ankle. As reported, Busquets has only missed 13 matches out of a possible 700 due to injury during his time at Barcelona. Busquets is not yet entirely ruled out of the United tie. He has to now undergo tests to determine the severity of the problem. United will visit the Camp Nou on February 16 before the return leg at Old Trafford on February 23. The Athletic report Busquets is initially expected to miss 2 to 3 weeks. Busquets has made 18 league appearances for Barcelona this season and 30 in all competitions. Barcelona replaced the midfielder with Frank Kessié and could change their system to deploy Frenkie de Jong in a deeper role. Busquets' injury could negatively impact Barcelona, but it will give de Jong what he wants, landing him with a prominent role against his former Ajax boss Erik ten Hag and the club who wanted to buy him last summer, Manchester United. Barcelona have already seen Ousmane Dembélé ruled out of the ties due to injury. They are in good form domestically, sitting top of the La Liga table. Meanwhile, United have Christian Eriksen and Donny van de Beek ruled out with injury. Casemiro should be completely fresh after being ruled out of the preceding 3 Premier League games with suspension. Leeds forward Rodrigo set to miss both Manchester United games. Leeds United forward Rodrigo will miss both of the club's upcoming Premier League matches against Manchester United due to injury. The 31-year-old faces 2 months on the sidelines following an ankle injury sustained in the Whites FA Cup 4th round tie at Accrington Stanley. The 27-time Spain international, who has scored 12 goals across all competitions this season, suffered bone and ligament damage as a result of a challenge and has undergone minor surgery, with the former Valencia marksman, who was signed for £26 million out of the back-to-back games against Erik ten Hag's Red Devils. Jesse Marsch will be without his top scorer. With Leeds number 19 unavailable to face the 20-time league champions, the Ellen Road side's next joint top scorers are winger Somerville and Sinisterra, who have 4 goals apiece across all competitions. Rodrigo, who has scored as many Premier League goals as Marcus Rashford this season 10, netted in the last Roses clash. While Leeds will be without their top scorer, Ten Hag will be without first-choice midfield partnership Christian Eriksen and Casemiro. Formal bids for Man United takeover to be submitted next week. Manchester United are set to receive formal bids for a takeover next week, according to the Daily Mail. The Red Devils have had a fine season under manager Erik ten Hag. They are currently in a strong position to finish in the top 4 and have the chance to win the Carabao Cup this month. This is probably the right time for the Glazers to look into a potential sale, and it's reported that formal bids will be submitted next week amid interest from Asia, Middle East and the United States. While the Glazers are deemed to be eyeing £6 billion to £8 billion for a sale, it's claimed that they may have to settle for much less, having already benefited from a higher share value lately. United stocks are almost at a record high at the moment, following the Glazers' announcement to explore a possible sale back in November last year. The club are currently valued at £3 billion. Hence, bids in the region of £4 billion are likely on the cards, and it's reported that British billionaire Sir Jim Ratcliffe is the early frontrunner to take control of the club from the Glazers. The Rainey Group, who oversaw Chelsea's ownership change from Roman Abramovich last year, are currently tasked with the job of selecting the right buyer for the Red Devils. The Rainey Group did a splendid job in picking Clearclay Capital Group as Chelsea's new owners. The Blues have had a dreadful Premier League season so far, but their ambitions is quite clear. Having spent a staggering £600 million on players since last summer's transfer window, the West London Giants have signed several young talents with huge potential, and the club could be a force to reckon with in the coming seasons. With the quality in the squad, United needs similar investment to take them to the next level, such that they can regularly compete for the league title. In Ten Hag, they have an ideal manager to groom young stars. Aside from squad investment, Old Trafford requires a fresh makeover. It could cost a staggering £2 billion for a complete renovation. The new owner consortium must be willing to spend on the same. I will be uploading daily Manchester United news, so keep your eyes on the channel and don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate your support. Peace out.